everybody, this is Scott Mann, your guide and facilitator at the Next Ridgeline, and I'm here actually at the Maverick 1000 event. And what this event is, where we've brought some of the best and brightest entrepreneurial minds in the world together. They come together to really pay it forward, and we're fortunate that they chose to work with the Green Beret Foundation today and to really provide some dynamic coaching on just a range of subjects that all of our Green Berets, all of you watching, are going to face in one way or another when you transition. Resiliency, mind, body, spirit, readjustment, or what we're also calling redirection, which is filling the void left by the rush of being a Green Beret. And then of course reintegration with your family, your friends, and your professional life. And that was the context that we had a whole day of conversations and competitions on startups. And we met some amazing people today. I mean, just some phenomenal coaches and mentors that have expressed tremendous interest in what we're doing. One of them is Roger James Hamilton, who was good enough to do a follow-up interview with us today. His book that is out now, The Millionaire Master Plan, is hot off the shelves, and it's something that I asked Roger to spend a little time talking with us about today, because I think that it's one of those tools that is going to be a wonderful addition to your toolkit as you look at transition. So first of all, Roger, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for coming today as well, and for bringing everyone along with you. It's been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess I'd like to jump right into it. If you don't mind, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and how you've evolved as an entrepreneur, right. And then we'll jump right into a few questions.
Sure. Well, my background, actually, both my parents were in the Hong Kong police. My father's from Scotland, my mom's from China, so I spent most of my childhood growing up in different parts of Asia. Then I went to school in the UK, and I became an entrepreneur almost by necessity. It's like I either had a really long pathway to go through with my architecture career, or I became an entrepreneur. Today I live in Bali with my family, so I've got 3 kids, my wife. We have a resort where we teach people who might be in a job or might have just got out of a job how to start a business, and then how to make that a global business, which allows them to travel and allows them to learn from all over the world.
Right, and so you coach and teach entrepreneurs from all over the world.
Yeah, entrepreneurs, and also people, like we have quite a number of people that came out of the army, for example,
right.
Special forces in the UK, in Australia, that through the process we go through allowed them to find their real true calling. Right. And then get involved in things that are now earning them the income for their family, and making them give that purpose for themselves that they had when they're in the army as well.
That's actually the first question I want to get into. So as you listen to us describe the nature of the Green Beret, the way that we're kind of hardwired and the way we operate, and the challenges that we're facing in transition, can you give some thoughts and perspective on what guys ought to be thinking about in transition when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur? What are some of the things that come to your mind on that?
Well, the first one, whether it's about being an entrepreneur or whether it's about even just going and getting a job, is that when you're coming back into this whole kind of business world, it's like being landed into a new country you've never been to before. And we're talking today about situational awareness. This idea that, look, if you have a map, if you've got a compass, if you know where you're meant to go and what your mission is, then there's a way for you to actually make sense of it and actually start moving straight away. Biggest problem is for a lot of people when they're actually getting back into saying, well, what do I want to be doing? How do I do something meaningful? They don't have the map. They don't have the compass. So what we've done over the years is put together a map which actually says, here's the steps, here's the stages, and the compass is about 3 things. It's about what are your natural talents? So in the same way when you're actually getting trained in the army, some people are more talented at the technical side, some more talented at the leadership side. So what are the talents that you can use? Secondly, what are your real passions? And thirdly, what's the real things that you find most meaningful, purposeful, because there's things out there you can be doing as well. And these aren't just about just guessing at it. We've got assessments you can take which allow you to find out exactly what you are. That becomes your compass, and then with a map and knowing where you're at, you can then know exactly where to go, and more importantly, get the right team together so that you're working together with them to do it. So we have a kind of a process, so it's not left to chance, but it allows you to really make sure you're getting to the success you want to.
No, that's fantastic. And so tell us a little bit about the training that you run in Bali.
So we have 14-day and 30-day programs that we run, and we talk about starting a global business, which is one in which you can work from anywhere and in which you can learn from everywhere. You might even decide to just stay at home and do it from there. But if you wanted to travel to another state or another country, you could do it from there as well. And you might say, well, do you need to be an entrepreneur to do that? And the answer is no. because there are now many sites out there which allow you to be a contractor where you're working in your own hours. There's ways for you to team up with other teams that already have businesses that are going that you can then add your value into as well.
Yeah.
And they're all over the world. So there's now platforms that are available, and these, a lot of them are only like in the last couple of years they've become available, which every one of us can tap into. And the moment you start actually setting your priorities of what's important to you, and you go through that thought process, then there's going to be options that open up which just fit your criteria, and that makes life much easier.
No, that's great. And so, tell me a little bit about the book. I mean, this looks like, no kidding, one of the ultimate tools for our guys here as they're thinking about, especially those considering entrepreneurialism. Tell me a little bit about the book.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting title because, like Millionaire Master Plan, you kind of think, is this just for people who want to be millionaires or people who are millionaires, right? But I mean, I take that whole concept of millionaires as people who are thinking in the millions, whether you want to impact 1 million lives, if you want to make $1 million, it's about just saying, I want to be the very best I can be, adding the most value I can add. So the book is actually, this is the difficult thing about books. I guarantee that it doesn't matter what expert you pick up a book for, and whatever they say and how convincing it is, you will find another book by another expert that does the total opposite. It doesn't matter what your politics is, there's a politics total opposite, and it keeps on going like that. So our biggest problem is that there's all this information out there and it's all conflicting, and the real question is not, is this the right way or not? Because there's going to be an opposite way, it's which is right for me. So what we do different in this book is we have a test at the beginning which says, what's your genius? What's your natural way of doing things? So we were talking about your genius earlier, dynamo genius, coming with lots of ideas, never finishing everything, and I'm exactly the same. And some people are blaze genius, where they're really great with people. Some are steel genius, where they're really good with the detail. So there's 4 different geniuses, and like Warren Buffett, who's a billionaire, made his money totally different from someone like a Bill Gates, right? So understanding you've got to follow a path is one thing. Then we have 9 levels, and I studied as an architect, so I kind of like put a structure which is a map, which is, I call it a lighthouse. It's kind of like 9 levels up, where you might be the level where it says, I don't know how to start a business, but I want to. Or, look, I got to get a job because I'm in debt right now. Whatever level you're at, there's very specific steps to take at that level. This goes through those steps. After you find out what your result is, then you can actually follow the book to go through the steps, and you can also go onto our online kind of like mobile video learning platform called Genius U, where it takes you through those steps, and it's all kind of free of charge of the book. It's all just like affordable, easy, but allows you to then actually be guided through. And probably the best bit is you have these genius circles, which are a bit like, within the Green Berets, you have the mission teams where you're actually getting together with your team. It's exactly the same thing where you're actually coming on board and connecting with others as well. And that all is part and parcel of not providing more information, because I think there's already too much information out there. It's like giving the whole map and you still don't know where you are. It's direction, which is, I got to get from A to B, right? So that makes it much easer.
You know, one of the things, Roger, in thinking about that is in a lot of the conversations that I have with Green Berets that are looking at transition, is they often talk about they don't have a lot of time to figure it out. They're having to make that decision very rapidly, or it's so far down the road that they're not even thinking about it. But this strikes me as one of those things that would allow folks to really get into this thought process early on, and really start to diagnose the kind of genius that they are, and the steps that would work best for them.
Yeah, I mean, coincidentally, we actually talk about, like on our Genius U, we actually talk about our courses not as courses, but as missions.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get confused about this word entrepreneur, and they say, does entrepreneur mean I've got to go take big risks and have my own business?
Right.
Well, the word entrepreneur is a French word which comes from entreprendre, which means to go on an undertaking. To go on an undertaking, which is like a journey of promise, it's like that's where I'm going, is a mission. That's what it is. So like you think about USS Enterprise, because like that comes from entrepreneur. The Enterprise is like go boldly where no man's gone before. I think a lot of people, whether they're leaving a corporate job, whether they're coming back from the army, whether they're doing something like that, where everything was really clear what was to be done. And suddenly it's like, now what?
Right.
At that point, it's easy to go into a situation of either overwhelm or resignation. It's kind of like, it's like whatever I'm going to do is not going to feel the same as what I had.
Right.
Or you say, this is going to be my this is a new mission. This is something where it's up to me if I make it more meaningful. It's up to me if I challenge myself more. And what if there is a way that I could do something even more meaningful than what I was doing? And if you start from that point, guaranteed you'll find that pathway. And all you need to do then is to have the map and direction. And that's really what this book's all about, is to get you to at that point where the lighthouse, we are the lighthouse, we're the ones that are creating the light. And we owe that to our family. We owe that to the people around us. It's only when we light up that we actually let them shine as well, right? And so we have a responsibility for that, for every one of us, to actually be that person,
right?
To say, I'm going to be an example here, and instead of actually kind of like giving yourself even another moment to say, I'm still not sure. It's like, no, I am sure. I might not know exactly how yet, I just know that's where I'm going. And once you get to that mode, you're going to find this book, and there's others out there as well, are the tools and the keys to ensure that you're not doing it alone, but you're doing it with others around you as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think the last thing that I'll point out that I'd like you to comment on is, the more I talk to our community, the more I see that in many cases we do tend to settle. And I've heard Green Berets tell me, all of my life I've been able to do what I love, have this sense of higher purpose, and now I just have to kind of settle because I have to take care of my family, or I don't have time to figure this out, or it's too insecure to pursue this endeavor. And in many cases, we lose that sense of higher purpose that frankly has driven us all along.
Yeah.
And so I wonder what your thoughts are on that, because it certainly sounds like what you're advocating and what this book is about is a way to connect to that higher purpose and keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are now more ways to be like totally purposeful and driven in peacetime, in a situation which still makes it a life or death situation, which still is something where you yourself are, that whole saying, which is like, a lot of people are afraid to die, but the real question is, while we're alive, are we really living? That whole thing, which is like, and what I'm doing enough that I'd want to die for.
Right.
It's like, am I on a mission which is strong enough that I'd be willing to put my life on the line for this? Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right?
Stephen Pressfield says, would you bleed for it?
Right. So there's an element where every one of us can get to that point and to that state. The challenge is when we're in the Army, well, we actually are in the training put into that state. It is more difficult when you've got to figure it out for yourself. Yeah. But when you get into an environment with other people where they already are there and they're in that place, it's much easier to do it as well. So a large part of this is most importantly not trying to figure it out on your own, but realizing that actually is there. It's a reality. But a reality where you're actually living a meaningless life is also a reality, because a lot of people are having to live that life every single day.
Yeah.
But it's a choice. And I think one of the biggest opportunities for everyone who's coming out of the Army right now, for those who are in the Green Beret who've got just all this incredible training, is you're at that point in your life where you have that ability right now to make that choice. Right. If you're stuck in a job and you have no other choice, and so on, you've got a mortgage and you can't even leave the job at that point. But right now, on the one hand, it's overwhelming because it's like coming to crossroads where it's like, which way do I go? But on the other hand, that comes with that choice to say, right, I'm going to get that compass, and I'm going to make sure that compass is not pointing to just the first job I can find. That compass is pointing to what's actually really meaningful for me. And I'm going to go connect with those people out there who are already doing the things that are most meaningful. And I guarantee those people, they're going to see the value in you and want to be working with you as well.
Roger, that's fantastic. I hope you'll work with us going down the road here, because your mentorship, I think, is going to offer a lot to our guys. And the book is Millionaire Master Plan. Roger James Hamilton, you're a great mentor and coach. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much. And thanks so much for coming today, and for everyone who's listening, and for everyone who's actually just gone through this whole process of serving the country, and everyone who's gone through the training, incredible training that's happened within Green Berets. Just like, thank you for your service as well. It's just really, really awesome. And it's an inspiration for everyone out there.
I appreciate that. And well, thanks for watching this video, folks. This is Scott Mann, your guide facilitator at Next Ridgeline. And we'll see you next time with another one of our Next Ridgeline initiatives and video series. Thanks for watching.